So, I haven't made a video in a hot minute, so let's just get right into it. Vibrato on clarinet is one of the most controversial issues among clarinetists, and I honestly don't understand why. So let's do a little experiment. And I honestly don't know if enough people are going to do this to make it work, but can we try? Let's try to work together. Before I go any further in this video, put a comment whether or not you agree with the use of vibrato on clarinet. Put yes for yes, I agree with vibrato, or yes, I use vibrato, and put no for no, I don't think vibrato should be used on clarinet. You can say why, you can leave it at just a yes or no, but put something in the comments right now. I'll wait. Okay, so people who don't think that vibrato should be used on clarinet usually think the following: that the clarinet sound is so pure that it doesn't need any sort of alteration to the sound. And to that I kind of agree with, but it just seems that aside from piano, percussion, and harp, the flutes, the oboes, the bassoons, the saxophones, the violins, violas, cellos, bass, horn, trumpet, trombone, every other instrument in the orchestra and the wind ensemble or whatever ensemble we're dealing with gets to use vibrato, and the clarinets kind of get left behind. We are literally the only instrument, aside from the ones that I mentioned, that physically cannot vibrato. We are the only instruments who aren't taught how to vibrato, or when to vibrato, or if we should vibrato, or what vibrato is. I'm a little passionate about this discussion. So yes, I agree that the straight tone, so a tone using no vibrato, I agree that the clarinet has one of the best sounding straight tones that there is. It's nice and velvety, it's warm, it's soothing. Obviously, I'm gonna think it's the best because I play clarinet. And, okay, in an orchestral setting, I can agree that it does sound more natural for a flute or an oboe or a bassoon to use vibrato than it does for clarinet. But I don't know if that's just because my ears are used to hearing most orchestral players not using vibrato, so that when someone plays with when somebody plays with vibrato, it sounds a little like it just stands out a little more. So the no vibrato argument stems from clarinet doesn't need to use vibrato because it's a pure sound. What does that even mean? You might be able to tell from the way this video is going that I am a huge fan of vibrato. So there are two types of vibrato. There's like what I like to call a jazzy vibrato, and there's one that I like to call I don't think I have a name for it, actually. I'll put it this way. There's one type of vibrato that is produced by moving your jaw and your lip and your embouchure, and there's another type of vibrato that's produced with your air. I am not a huge fan of the lip and embouchure vibrato because I feel that you need to keep your embouchure kind of set in order to control what pitch you're originally playing on the instrument. And also, when you use your embouchure to vibrato, you're altering the pitch. Like, if you slow it down, the pitch goes up and down. So that's the lip vibrato slowed way down. And I don't like using that kind of vibrato because it changes the pitch, and you don't want to be out of tune with the instruments around you. And I feel that I have less control over the instrument when my embouchure is moving up and down, which can cause the clarinet to squeak or hit a different partial or like have a bad tone. Like, any number of things can happen when you're moving your embouchure up and down. So I prefer to use vibrato that is produced by altering your air. When you use your air to produce the vibrato, it changes the volume of the note, as opposed to the pitch of the note. And not changing the pitch of the note helps it fit better into orchestral playing and chamber music playing. It helps you blend better. Honestly, why would you not want to use vibrato? It adds a different color and a different texture, and it's just another tool in your toolbox. Like, I don't think vibrato should be used all the time, crazy fast on every single note, but when used sparingly, I think it's really effective and really expressive. Why wouldn't you want to be able to do that? Why wouldn't you want to use it? I'll show you really quickly what I mean by using your air. This is me. I'm just going to play an F because I think that'll come out better through the speakers. And honestly, I apologize. I don't have a good microphone, so I don't even know if this is going to come across. But I'll try to, like, emphasize what I'm doing so that you can hear it better, and the microphone is the one in my computer. It sucks. Sorry, not sorry. So that's an example of using your air to produce vibrato as opposed to using your embouchure to produce the vibrato. Now, one way to practice this is basically this is so hard to do when I'm not sitting next to you to, like, show you how to do it, but I'll try to do my best through the computer screen. So basically, your diaphragm, which is the muscle that's right here in between your rib cage, that muscle is used to control your air support. So I am essentially using that to produce the changes in air that are going through the clarinet. And so the best way to do this is to essentially, pick a tempo. No. I have chosen 60, good old 60. I don't know if you can hear that. I don't know if that's really super obnoxious. I'm going to turn it down, actually. It's not super imperative that you hear it. I just want to make sure that I keep a steady beat. So I'm going to start with quarter notes. And it's basically just using faster air toward the beginning of the beat. Basically, it's sort of like an air accent, sort of, is kind of the movement of the air. Then you want to practice with eighth notes. So it's basically just like little pulses. So let's try triplets. I don't know if you can see where my diaphragm is, but it's right in this region here that's moving. Ooh. And then you want to try 16th notes. And then maybe you want to try quintuplets. 5 pulses per beat. So that's how you can train sort of your diaphragm and body to get used to using your air to create vibrato. And that kind of control, going from slow to fast, will be able to give you the technique of being able to, when you're playing, do like a slow vibrato and get faster and faster and faster. So if you incorporate this into your routine when you're warming up with long tones, if you just incorporate it into your practicing every day, you'll get gradually better and better at it, so that eventually you'll be able to experiment with it in an actual rehearsal. Is there a situation where you should not use vibrato? I think in an audition setting, if you're playing orchestral excerpts for your audition, you should not use vibrato. This is because some conductors can be a little bit picky as to what kind of sound they're looking for in a clarinet player. So I think that in orchestral music, when you're playing it as an audition, you shouldn't use it because it's not really a color that's used a lot in the orchestra. However, in an audition setting, when you're playing your solo, that would be a good time to use it, so that you can showcase the fact that, yes, I know how to use vibrato, but I can also play and sound great without it. Whenever I play in an orchestra, whenever I have a solo, I do tend to use vibrato very sparingly as a tool to make what I'm playing a little bit more expressive, and it can intensify and it can make something beautiful. It's, it's just another expressive tool that you can use, so why not use it? I have never had a conductor tell me that it's too expressive. I have never had a conductor ask me to not play with vibrato. But I think that that's because I do tend to use it very sparingly. Like I said at the beginning of the video, if I didn't edit it out, I don't think it should be used like crazy on every single note, but I think that when used sparingly, it can be effective. I use it a little more when I'm playing solo music, just because so much of the emphasis is on my sound. As opposed to in an orchestral setting when the emphasis is on like the sound of the whole ensemble. And I just like to make it a little more interesting, so that's what I tend to do. So when should you use vibrato, aside from being a solo player? Well, I'm glad you asked, because if you play folk music, klezmer music, jazz music, or in a solo, then I think that's where you can really just be super expressive with it. Jazz uses vibrato all the time. Listen to Benny Goodman. It's like totally crazy and it works really well. And also like altos and tenors and like most of the brass and other winds will be using the lip vibrato. So save your lip vibrato. Klezmer music, I will say, oh my god, I love klezmer music. Klezmer music is kind of where you take all the sounds that you're not allowed to make in orchestral music and you use them in klezmer music. There's slides, there's pitch bending, growl, crazy articulation, lip vibrato, air vibrato. I'm thinking of one particular piece. If it's on YouTube, I will put a link for you. It's called The Dreams and Prayers of Isaac the Blind, and it's by Osvaldo either Golijov or Golijov. I'm not a pronunciationist. David Krakauer is an amazing klezmer player in the New York City area. It is just so amazing what this man can do on not only B-flat clarinet, but also bass clarinet. It's freaking fantastic. I'll play a couple examples if that's what you want to hear. If when I listen to this the sound isn't bad, I'll keep these examples in there because it's like for instance the Gershwin Preludes number 2. Technically it's on A clarinet, but my B flat clarinet is out, so it's gonna be on B flat. So this is an example of when you would use more vibrato than usual in a piece of music, and it's mainly because it's Gershwin and a lot of his stuff is super jazzy. So I'm trying to stick with the performance practices of the jazzy sounds, and you'll see what I mean. Let's put on my glasses for this. And that's an example of using lots of vibrato. An example of not using lots of vibrato would probably be... where's my Schumann? I just have a pile of repertoire right here. Schumann Fantasy-Stück. And both these pieces I'll put below so that you can listen to them. They're, pretty... standard clarinet pieces. This one is also in A, but I'm going to play it on B flat. Things that are sort of from the more romantic classical era, I sort of tend to use vibrato a little more sparingly, like this. it's not on every single note. It's just at the end of phrases, on longer notes, just to give it a little extra something. Like I said, why wouldn't you want another tool in your toolbox to give things, you know, a little more expression? I don't know why playing with vibrato is so controversial among clarinet players. I really don't understand it. I think it's great. I think it's awesome. I think we should use it. I think that we shouldn't be the outcasts of the orchestra who, like, aren't allowed to use vibrato. I think we should do it. I've showed you how to do it. I think you should practice it, and then, like, why not try it in your next rehearsal? So that's all I got. If you can tell by my uploading schedule, it's a little bit erratic. So if you do subscribe, it's good to click the bell, I guess. That's what people are saying now. Click the bell. Smash the subscribe. Click the bell for notifications. I don't even know how it works. I just hear people using it. Because I haven't uploaded in a little bit, I will do a really, really quick gig update, and the vibrato portion of this video has ended, so feel free to close out and go practice. This month I am playing in one of my students' recitals. We're playing Beethoven Opus 11, which Opus 11 is a trio for clarinet, cello, or viola, and piano, written by Beethoven, obviously, Opus 11. But somebody out there arranged it for 2 clarinets, and it's the most fun duet, and some of it's really hard because, like, playing a piano riff on a clarinet is kind of difficult because their fingers can move real fast. In February, I am playing a zombie opera, which actually isn't all that weird because I just played a werewolf opera. And then in March, I'm playing in sort of a department recital with one of the music schools that I play at. So I've got a lot going on, but not too much, so I can still upload videos. And I'm still trying to do uploading a performance every Thursday. The holidays got in the way, but I just uploaded the Malcolm Arnold Divertimento, so you should definitely listen to that with my trio, Mythic Winds. There are 3 performances that have been uploaded so far, and there are 3 more to come. So next 3 weeks, keep a lookout for those, and I'm done. Go practice!